Welcome to the Inteleos Item Writer training program. This program is a 5-part webinar. Together, the 5 parts are approximately 45 minutes. If you would like to volunteer as an item writer, you must first complete all 5 modules of this training. You are about to begin Part 1, Introduction to Exam Development. At ARDMS, the American Registry for Diagnostic Medical Sonography, and APCA, the Alliance for Physician Certification and Advancement, at the heart of our mission is our commitment to the highest quality patient care through rigorous assessments and continual learning. Our exams must be able to measure a candidate's knowledge of ultrasound versus measuring someone's ability to take a test. The way we do that is by developing high-quality items, or more correctly, guiding you, our volunteers, to use our style guide and establish some best practices for item writing. In this training, you will get an overview of the exam development process. See where item writers fit within that process and learn what happens to your items after you write them. I will also share with you the basic anatomy of an item and explain how to incorporate Bloom's taxonomy, a framework we use to improve the quality of our test questions. Part 3 will discuss and provide examples of ARDMS and APCA item writing guidelines. Part 4 will review requirements and best practices such as the mentor program. And finally, Part 5 is a tutorial of the EPIC Remote Item Writing Portal. Our volunteers can access this convenient portal from any desk or laptop computer with an internet connection. What you see here is a high-level flowchart of our test development process. Each of our exams begins with a job task analysis, or JTA, where a group of practitioners meet to discuss what they do on the job. They identify important knowledges, skills, and abilities associated with the responsibilities in their field. Through this process, we develop an extensive survey that is sent to thousands of physicians and ultrasound professionals who are asked to tell us specifically how often tasks are performed and how important each task is. JTAs are conducted every few years to ensure that our exams remain current with technological advances and changes in the profession, and ultimately produce the content outline for the exam. The content outline is essentially a syllabus or blueprint for the exam content. It's available to the test taker and to the item writer. This is the content outline for the 2017 fetal echocardiography exam. Most of our content outlines follow a similar format. The content is divided into domains, broad topics such as anatomy or pathology. You can see anatomy makes up 18% of this exam. Within that domain are subdomains, which are broken down further to more specific topics, such as assess for normal embryologic development. These specific topics, called tasks, are coded 1A1, 1A2, and so on. It is to these coded tasks that you, the item writer, will be asked to write and code items about. Once you submit your items electronically, they will be prepared for committee review. Committees of 3 or more subject matter experts convene to review the newly written items. They make necessary edits and approve them or discard them if it's determined that they wouldn't be appropriate for an entry-level practitioner. This process is confidential. Reviewers are not told the names of the contributing item writers, and items are referred to only by their item ID number. Once the items have been approved by committee, they can be included on an exam. The exam form is the actual test document built by our staff sonographers who refer to the content outline and select items that represent all the domains. These forms are reviewed by the volunteer leads for that specialty, who check to see that all the content is relevant. They make sure that there's only one correct response for each item and that there are no what we call enemies, which is when the answer to one question gives away the answer to another. Both questions may be good, but we wouldn't want them on the same test document for obvious reasons. At this point, the test can be administered. And what you may not know is that on any given administration of the exam, there's a small percentage of questions that are not scored. These new items are there so we can see how they perform. We're still gathering statistics on these items. In other words, did the people who pass the exam get these questions right? Do the people who fail get them wrong? Are these questions telling us who has mastered the content and who has not? This data is analyzed by a team of psychometricians, statisticians who study the science of test taking. The psychometricians work with another group of volunteers to set the passing standard and determine what an entry-level candidate would know. From there, we can make the pass-fail decisions and establish how many questions one needs to get right in order to demonstrate a baseline competency to perform the job. So now you know what an involved process exam development is. If you were to write an item today, it could be weeks or even months before it goes in front of a review committee, and it would be even longer than that before it makes its way onto an exam. Because of this, it is difficult for us to tell you which items or how many of your items will be used on an exam, or to give you immediate feedback of any kind. This is one of the reasons we began the Mentor program, which you will learn more about in Part 4 of this training. There are a lot of moving parts to developing an exam. Each part is a critical step to developing valid and reliable assessments, and our volunteers are crucial to this process. We simply couldn't do it without our volunteers. This concludes Part 1. Please continue to the next module.